Pepper, the king of spices. Introduction. What is black and wrinkled like a tiny raisin? What has sent men sailing across the ocean and was once used as money? It's pepper. You may have seen pepper in a shaker. You may have sprinkled it on your food. But do you know what is it? What it is? Do you know where it comes from? The pepper you eat comes from a dried up berry called a peppercorn. If you have ever seen a peppercorn, you might have ever seen a peppercorn. You might have thought it was a pebble, but it's not. It is a berry that grows on a vine. People use the whole peppercorn or crush it into tiny spices. They use it to add flavor to food. Plant parts that are used to flavor food are called spices. Pepper is a spice with a very strong flavor. People use it on meat and vegetables. You can mix it with other flavors to make plain foods taste better. Eating too much pepper can be bad for you. If you eat plain pepper, your tongue will feel like it is on fire. You might even feel hot inside. Some people can get sick if they eat too much pepper. Pepper is known as the king of spices. This is because it is used more than any other spice in the world. As you read, you will find out that pepper was once ever used as money. Did you know pepper can tickle the inside of your nose and make you sneeze? During you sneeze, and other stuff can spit out of your nose at 161 kilometer per hour. 100 per hour. Mile per hour. How pepper grows. The pepper plant grows as a long vine. The vines often wrap around a tree. Groups of round berries hang down from the vines. Each group can have 30 to 70 berries. When the berries dry out, they turn black and hard. They become wrinkled like a raisin. The dry berries are called peppercorns. Each peppercorn is smaller than a pea. Usually, people do not eat whole peppercorns. Instead, they use the type of pepper you see in a shaker. People use tools to grind peppercorns into tiny flakes. This makes pepper easier to eat. Where pepper grows, the pepper plant needs a lot of water to grow. This is why it is found in places that get a lot of summer rain. To dry out the berries, farmers also need a place with a warm than the autumn by water. The peppercorns can be used as a spice. One good place to grow pepper is the southwestern part of India. The weather is perfect for growing pepper vines. Farmers have grown pepper in India for thousands of years. The people of India used pepper to trade for things they wanted or needed. A popular spice, pepper has been used in many ways. Long ago, people used it to make meat taste better. Some people thought eating pepper could help the- them when they got sick. They used they also used it to make their home smell good. One place where pepper is popular is Europe. Hundreds of years ago, it was very hard to get this spice there. It did not grow in Europe, but many people still wanted it. There was a very small supply of pepper, but a big demand for it. This meant the people who had pepper could sell it for a high price. Peppercorns were in such demand that they were sometimes used as money. People might get paid in peppercorns. They could use their peppercorns to buy things they needed. They could even pay their rent with peppercorns. People could also trade peppercorns for other food. In Rome, a person could trade 1 pound of pepper for 40 pounds of wheat. In Greece, people peppercorns pepper cost cost so much that most people couldn't afford to buy it. If a poor person had pepper, others might have 1,000 it would have thought it was stolen. Sometimes poor people were punished just for having pepper. It was clearly a spice only the rich could afford. A long, expensive journey. In the 1400s, people in Europe got a lot of their paper from India. It grows in other places too, but those places are even farther from Europe than India. To get paper to Europe from so far away, people had to pay others to bring it to them. In the 1400s, it took over a year to get paper from India to Europe. There were no planes, trains, or trucks back then. The peppercorns had to travel in carts on the backs of animals and sometimes by boats. As bags of peppercorns were moved from place to place, the price went up. Each worker had to be paid. First, the pepper berries had to be picked in India. Farmers gathered them in large bags or baskets. Then they put them on big blankets to dry in the sunlight. All the farmers had to be paid. Workers loaded the peppercorns onto wagons and the journey began. Strong animals pulled the wagons to a river. Bags of pepper were loaded onto boats. Then the boats took the pepper down a river to the shore. All the wagon and boat workers had to be paid. Now the pepper was ready to cross the ocean and was loaded onto larger boats that sailed from India to Africa. The boat workers and the captains had to be paid. When the paper arrived in Africa, it had to move overland. A strong buffalo or camel carried it. The paper was taken down the Nile River on a white boat. The boat workers and the people who led the animals all had to be paid. The load of spice had to cross the sea between Africa and Europe. So it was put onto one last boat. It could be sent to Greece, France, or many other countries. Or the boat workers had to be paid. When the boat reached Europe, the journey was almost complete. The paper was carried overland by carts. All the drivers had to be paid. At last, it was sold at a high price. This helped pay everyone who worked to get it to Europe. Kings and queens in Europe paid their own explorers to find new ways to bring back spices and other riches. Explorers were able to sail from Europe all the way to India and back. This was cheaper than bringing it overland. Paper today. Paper is used around the world today, but it is much cheaper now. You can buy it in a store with just a few coins. Many places even give it away for free. Imagine how a king from 600 years ago would feel it is so free paper. Why is paper cheaper today? Now there is enough supply to meet the demand. Also, people can ship peppercorns around the world in just a few hours. People use fast ships, trains, trucks, and even airplanes to quickly get paper to those who want it. The paper that comes out of your shaker is just like the paper from 2000 years ago. It tastes the same. It still grows in India and in rainy parts of the world. So the next time you grind pepper on your food, imagine you are a king or a queen. Think of what you could have bought in the 1400s with a whole shaker full of the king of spices. It was like sprinkling your food with little bits of gold.